Well, guys, I did it. I ordered up the cheapest carb kits for a GL1100 that I could find on eBay or Amazon or anywhere else on the whole World Wide Web thing. And I got them. Here they are. This is what I got. I got a carb kit that includes floats and a few other parts, and what I wanted to do was compare these parts to the originals and see exactly what I got for my $29 or whatever it is. And it all come in this bag. There she is, $29 worth of goodness from a carb kit. Let's see if any of this at all is any good, and if we even come close to getting our $29 worth. Now from Honda, this piece right here costs more than $29. This is the Accelerator Pump. And we'll compare it as well, because just don't know how this is going to stack up. We have our D-cell valve springs that I somehow managed to hook together. We'll just give them the old twirly-woo and unhook them. There we go. We have float bowl gaskets. We have floats. Just a little curious how they're going to work. So we got all those. We have our D-cell valves as well. We got 4 of those. And that's how many we should have. We'll just line those bad boys up over here. Put this with those right there, and there's another one. We'll take a closer look at this stuff. I'm just kind of compiling everything together right now and see what we got. There we have 3 float valve bodies. Let's see here. We got 3 little screens that go on those. 4 float needles. 4 idle adjustments. Low speed air adjustments. Or in this case, fuel adjustments. 1, 2, 3, 4. All our pilot jets. Set those sweethearts right there. And then we have our jet needles. These would be the needle jets, I guess I should say. They go below the emulsion tubes. This does not come with emulsion tubes, but it does come with those. And they wear. Emulsion tubes really don't wear, but those will wear over time. Then we have metering needles that hang off the bottom of the slides. 4 float pins. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 main jets. We'll see what size they are and compare those to what we already have. And we have all 4 of our little aluminum washers to go underneath our float valves. That's cool. Got all 4 of our springs that go on our idle mixture screws. Set those down there. And then we have a bunch of cotter pins, but none of the ones small enough to go in the actual linkage for the throttle or the choke whenever you're putting this thing back together. These are all too big for that. Pretty stinking sure of that. Let's give it a shot. See, this carburetor has a linkage on it, so we need a different one. Here's a carburetor. This one doesn't have linkage either. And this one does. This is our carburetor that has the linkage for our accelerator pump, also our choke linkage. So this is the hole that this pin would go in, and that's a big nope. That's one out of the carburetor, and there's a new one. We'll see if we can get this silly thing to focus on that. And this is the original. See how small it is, and this is the one that comes in the kit. Just a twidge big. We have all 4 of the little washers that go onto the idle mixture screws. Low speed mixture screws, whatever you want to call them. They go onto these. And these are the 4 little screws, or 4 little washers that go on those tiny little washers. And those little sons of guns are hard to find if you don't have them. Then we have 4 little O-rings like this, and I believe those are the ones that go on the side of the carburetor body right here on the D-cell valves. That's what I think these are. Now, are these the highest quality O-rings? I doubt it. Yep, those go there. So we got all 4 of those. We also, speaking of these valves, have the actual diaphragms. We'll see if they actually fit in there. They don't even fit in the hole. So that doesn't work. Here's the originals, and they're shaped totally different. They're kind of rounded, and then they set down in there, and they actually fit in. They don't come out so good, but they fit in. These are brand spanking new ones, don't even fit in the hole. Kind of makes you think, doesn't it? Maybe it's not the highest quality kit for our 30 bucks, but jeepers, what was we expecting? I mean, a lot of these parts from Honda are higher than the cat's back, and some of them aren't even available. I think are designed to go over the crossover tubes for the accelerator pump, is what I believe these are, or perhaps these. Let's see if we can find one of those real quick. Here we go. This is a crossover tube from one carburetor to another for the actual accelerator pump. It's kind of tiny, but it doesn't need to be that big. And these are the washers that go, or the O-rings that go on those crossover tubes, so that's good. These are kind of hard to come by, with the exception of, I don't remember if a Honda Carb kit comes with it or not. Carb kit from Honda only comes with the float bowl gasket and a couple other gaskets and a few O-rings. That's it. It doesn't come with anything else. So you can see there's a benefit to this, and then there's not a benefit too. This is a fuel crossover tube from one carb to another, and that's what these O-rings are. The fuel crossover tube. Could be those. It looks a little thin. I'm betting it's these. So that is the O-rings for there. At least I think they'll work. This is our accelerator pump. And this is the base to the accelerator pump right here. This would sit in here like this with the spring underneath it to return it. Let's find the bowl this goes on and see how well it fits. This is the bowl. This would go in here like this. That actually fits in there pretty well. And then we need the accelerator pump spring, which I'm going to guess that's what this is. Where's my original? There's the original one, there's the new one. So they're kind of close. We'll put the new one in here. And then we'll put the valve on it. Squish this down. And we're going to go ahead and see if we can find some screws to go in here. Feels good. There's the check valve that's actually in the float bowl. So I think it's clear. Not 100% sure. We're going to put some carb cleaner in here. I hope that rubber can handle carb cleaner. It's supposed to. All right. Make sure we're still center screened here. And it is indeed squirting right there. As long as I keep fuel to it, or carb cleaner to it. But that works. That alone makes this kit worth the money. Now this diaphragm does look like it has the fibers in it to reinforce it, such as the original one did. You can see them in this one too. I'll see if we can make this work or not. I don't really want to get carb cleaner on my camera. But you can see both of these kind of have the reinforcement threads in them. So that's good. Let's take a look at the floats. These are the original Honda floats right here, this one. This is the original Honda, and it's kind of a different material. It's definitely a plastic float, but I'm pretty sure these are kind of solid, made out of the same material all the way through. This one looks to be molded, and it's hollow inside. Now there isn't a lot of weight difference between these, between the two. Let's set one in a carb body and see what it actually looks like. Here is a carb body. We'll take one of our valves, one of our washers that come with the kit, put our little filter on there, see if it actually fits. It does. It sits down in there like that. And it really doesn't matter which company this kit come from. I got a screenshot of the company I bought it from, but there's probably 15 different people selling this kit or pieces of the kit and claiming they all work just perfect. And we know that's just not so. Yeah, I know I could just get a socket and do this, but where's the fun in that? All right, there's that. We'll grab us a float needle right here, and his springy thingy does work. Grab one of our new super cool floats. I'm not real sure how this is supposed to work. There's a tab on this side, right there, that is normal, looks normal. Then on this side, there is a double tab. Like some float needles slide down here, like lawn equipment and stuff. They slide down on there. These are the needles they send with it. Boy, I tell you what, hard to keep this thing focused on this. These are the needles that come with it, and they don't fit on there. See if I can show this here. This does not fit over both of those at all. It does fit over the one single tab, like that, but now our float's upside down. So, to go ahead and put this thing together here, scoot this over a bit. There we go. This float needs to sit in here like this. Get one of our float pins out of our kit nonetheless. Hey, fits through the hole. It's better than the cutoff valve. The pins they send don't fit through the floats. So I'm going to guess, considering you'd have to modify this side of the float, right there, cut those off or do something like that, then you would have to make the hole bigger that the pin goes through. That's amazing. Their own pins don't fit through their own floats. Let's grab an original float pin here. This is the OEM Honda one. No, it doesn't fit either. So the float pins are just, the floats themselves are the problem. Let's try a different one. Make sure they're all that way. Yep. So unless you're willing to do just an absolute bunch of modifying on these floats are about as worthless as the tits on a boar hog. I just don't know what to tell you. I didn't expect all this stuff to work, but whenever the float pin doesn't fit in their own floats, that's kind of a new level of silliness for them. All right, floats are junk. D-cell valves don't work. And this kit was ordered for this year. The I think it's 81 through 83 GL1100. So this is an 82 GL1100A. It's the naked bike. Carbs are the same between this and the full-on dresser and what have you. So it's not like we're dilly-dallying in the wrong direction here. But our float needles work. Let's find an original float needle here. So if we compare these, they really look pretty good. Those might work. So we'll call the float pins, our float needles, a win along with the float seats. Continuing on with this carb body, we have our pilot jets. Now, aftermarket pilot jets are notorious for not being the right size. And to tell you how amazing this jet does not have any markings on it whatsoever. Not on the end, not on the sides, nowhere. That's awesome. This is an original one, and it looks to be the right size, but there's not a chance in the world I would trust this jet to actually be the right size. So you can if you want. It'll certainly screw into the carburetor. It's the right diameter and has the right thread pitch on it, but there's no markings on it for what size it is. So buyer beware on those. Not sure what size these are because they're just too dirty to see. All right, our emulsion tubes doesn't come with them, so we have to reuse our original ones. our main jets. It does come with a main jet. Once again, there are no markings for size on this main jet. Are they the same? I don't have a clue. But I'm going to guess probably not exactly the same. Mine are still plugged up. I run them through the carb cleaner a few times, the ultrasonic cleaner, the Vibratron, and mine are still partially plugged up. This one's not. This one's not plugged up, so let's just see what we got here. The world's worst test, looking at them with your eyeball. If I was to guess, I would say they're just a touch leaner. I think this hole in the aftermarket ones are just a little bit smaller. I have run into real carb problems rebuilding them for people whenever I use aftermarket jets. Let's see here. What else is in this lovely kit? No, those work. Here is our low speed screws. And let me grab an original here. The originals had these limiter caps on them. And when you take them off, then they look pretty much like these do. So yeah, they look pretty good. They just poke down in a hole and then they turn them out to vary the size of the hole, how much fluid gets past them, or air or mixture. So I'm going to say these would work. So we got some stuff here that works and some that don't. Let's check our gaskets, our float bowl gaskets. If you guys are enjoying this video, make sure you subscribe down below. Hit the notification bell. We got several videos coming up on this GL1100. And I really like the old girl. She makes for a pretty good standard cruiser. So hit subscribe if you would. I think these gaskets will actually work. They're going to need a little grease to hold them in place, but really they fit pretty well. So that's good, because I needed those too. And 4 of these alone from Honda, these carb kits, which I think the carb kits are about $45 a piece from Honda. So when we buy this whole kit for $29, we do have some good stuff and we do have some bad stuff. Floats? No way. If you need floats, this is not the kit for you. If you need, let's see here, decel valves, which really, who doesn't when you're rebuilding these things? Some people just ignore them, but they need to be looked at. These things, nope, won't work. They're out. Once again, the floats are out. What else doesn't work in this kit? I would not trust the jets for anything. The pilot jets or the main jets, none of them are marked. I wouldn't trust them. So I hope that helps you decide whenever you're thinking about buying the world's cheapest carb repair kit for 82 GL1100. And this translates over into a whole bunch of other Hondas too. This isn't just for this kit. These floats, I bet you can find them in 20 different kits for Honda, and it's not going to work in any of them because none of the Hondas use this double pitched thing in here, and the own dadgum float pin won't fit through the float. So those are out. If you're thinking about it, think again. Let's summarize this up real quick. What'll work and what won't work? First of all, our fuel pump, our accelerator pump, does work. That's worth the price of the kit alone right there. How long would this last? I don't have a clue, but I know it's working right now. So that is a bonus right there. This thing works. That is good. The floating needle and seats look like they'll work just fine. I think they'll be good. These things, yeah, they'll work, but jeepers, you never need to replace these things. This goes down inside the slide and holds the needle in. You never have to do that. Whatever. Nice piece of throw in there. The needle jets, or jet needles, let's just see how these kind of fit here. Ow, I poked myself. That's the original needle. This is one of the kit needles. These won't even slide up on their own needles. Yeah. The original ones from the Carb, those slide right down. Slide on there pretty good. In the usual, normal usable range, they're pretty good. Because these are sitting in the slide, they're never going to come over that far. But if we use the original needles, doing the same thing here, these catch as soon as it comes up. So don't think I would actually trust that. The original ones are still in the carburetor bodies here. See if we can pop one of those out real quick. There we go. This is the original jet needle to the carburetor. Yep. The needles are a different size. I can put a micrometer to it, but I already know it. This is the kit needle, and this is one of the original needles, and it fits on there just fine. So, let's go over this whole thing real quick. Floats, no good. D-cell valves, don't fit these things at all. Float needles, so these aren't float needles. Jet needles, different diameter, not going to meter right. The needle jets are not the same as the stock ones. They're tighter, they're going to hang up on the needles. I wouldn't use them. Bottom line, just wouldn't use them. Our float needles and seats, yep, look to be okay. Half this stuff is junk. The other half works, and that makes it worth the money, but not nearly the value you would think it would be. I think that's a good way to put it. So, thanks for watching. God bless.